Hi, I'm Amy Hildreth Chin, a librarian at the University of Iowa, and I'm here to show you a game I invented called Codex Conquest. The first thing you'll need to do is lay out your cards. So let's go over here. You can see here that I sorted the solid color cards from the striped cards. The solid color cards are history cards. The striped cards are books. And the ones that are red are chance. The first thing you're going to want to do after sorting them is to shuffle your chance cards. Then you're going to lay them in the center of the table. All right, now we're going to set up the book market. All the books, again, are the striped cards. So each of the colors of the stripes refers to a different country. You can see here that there's a bunch of different colors. Black refers to Germany. Blue is France. Yellow is Spain. Green is Italy. And pink is England. And you're going to see this again later. So the first thing you need to do is to make sure that you have all of the countries in the same century. The century here matters more than the country. So here I'm going to separate all of the 15th century, put all the 15s together. Then you put all the 16s, 17s, and 18s together through the 19th century. It doesn't matter the order of the cards. All that matters is that you have all the cards from the same century that are books. All right, so now we're done. We have our chance deck set up and our book market, 15th century, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. All right, now we're going to be setting up your history cards. So the history cards, like the book cards, are separated by color and century. So the solid blacks are Germany, the solid greens are Italy, the solid yellows are Spain, the solid blues are France, and the solid pinks are England. To set up a country, you're going to make sure that you have all of the country's colors together. So I'm going to put these aside for right now. I'm going to set up Germany. So I'm going to take all the 15th century. It's just like the book market. You put all the same century together. So each of these decks should have 4 cards in it. And if you'd like, you can shuffle, but again, it doesn't particularly matter. But the main thing is that you have 4 cards per century for each of the centuries that are being played in the game. And then what you're going to do is repeat this for each of the countries in the game. So now you've set up the game. What you've done is you've set up chance. You've made the book market by century, but not by country. And then you've set up the history cards per country and then divided them by century. So each country has its area. This is where the player would sit. And you have it 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th century. So now what you're ready to do is to hand out credits. So here we're going to talk about credits. And credits provide your economy for the game. At the start, you begin with 5 credits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every country gets 5 credits. And when you're using credits, when you're playing with your class, you can use whatever you have on hand. You can cut out yellow discs like I did from construction paper. You can use something like coins or paper clips, whatever you find most appropriate. You'll just need about 30. So make sure you have 30 small items on hand and use whatever feels most comfortable to you. First, you need to decide when you're beginning to play who's going to play what. So you can play this game with each country being represented by 1 person or up to 3 people. I think it's especially fun to play on teams of 2. So I'm going to start by playing as Germany. And I choose Germany, and so therefore I'm going to sit by the black cards, which represent my country. My economy is 5 credits. This is the money that I'm going to use to play the game. History cards will provide the economy for the rest of the game. So I have a starting set amount, and then depending on the events that happen with history, I'll gain or lose credits with which to buy my books. All right, so whoever plays Germany will turn over a history card from the 15th century to begin. So you can pick the top card or any card in the middle, it doesn't matter, but for simplicity's sake, I'll start with the top. And then here's the card. I'll read off this card to everyone at the table and then include the number at the bottom. So when I'm beginning my game, Johannes Gutenberg introduces movable type printing, and that earns me 5 credits, so I'm doing pretty well. What I do is I go over to the bank of credits, and then I give myself 5 credits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I have 10 credits in order to buy books at the book market, so I'm doing really well. Sometimes a card will have the word chance at the bottom. So for example, if I had pulled this card, it says chance at the bottom. Albert Durer's woodcuts exemplify the beauty and skill demonstrated in early book arts. Chance. If that happens, then what I would have done is I would not have taken any credits. I would have pulled a card from the chance stack. So now that Germany has 10 credits, Germany can go buy a book from the book market. So technically, when you go to the book market, you can do one of 2 things. You can buy books, or you can just save your money. You don't have to spend your cash, and you can spend as much or as little as you want. When you go to the book market, you're allowed to choose 2 books maximum. You can choose none and just decide to save your money. You can choose 1, or you can choose 2, but you can't choose more than 2. And you have to be able to pay for the books that you buy. When you look at the books on the book market, you can choose from any of the books available in the century that you are currently in. You start in the 15th century, or you can buy books from previous centuries that are still on the market. So if you're in the 17th century and there's still books left from the 16th and 15th centuries, you can buy those books too, provided you can afford them. But you can't time travel and buy something from the 19th century. But since we're starting in the 15th century, there's no earlier time period available. So we're only going to stick with these books. So these are the books that are available on the 15th century market. What books you choose depends on the strategy you're pursuing, your collecting strategy in order to win. So when you look through, you might be looking for different aspects of books. You might be interested in books from a certain country, so you're going to be looking for the location, which is here. So this book is from Florence, Italy. If you're starting an Italian collection, you might care that this is an Italian book. If you're interested in genre collections, and after all, genre has more value at the end of the game than century or country cards. So if you're interested in genre, you would check here where it says epic poetry. That's the genre that you would be collecting. Or you could be creating a century collection. So in this case, you would be looking for the century. And these are all 15th century books, but we have the year of publication here. And so for this item, it's 1488. But what, of course, is most important is you have to be able to afford the book. So this book is 6 credits, so it is a very valuable book. But I have 10 credits, so I can't buy it. So it just depends what I want to pursue. Here's a cheaper book. It's worth 2 credits. It's from Spain rather than Italy, and it's a language book. So you can begin to see what your options are. So feel free to take your time looking through the books. Again, you can select 2 books, you can select 1, or you could select none. But you're going to be looking in the 15th century books to start. So if you want to make things a little bit more complicated and a little bit more fun, you might want to think about trading. Trading can happen at any time between any 2 countries or any collection of countries. The idea is that trading would allow you to go beyond the 2 book limit that you experience when you go to the book market. So say you have some more money and you want to perhaps get a few more items, you can see if a country would like to trade with you. You could also do something like think about creating a futures market where you go in with another country to buy something that you can't afford at the present, maybe for a little bit of interest. It's up to you, have fun, but it's a great option for a more advanced player. So you want to win. The best way to win is to put together books into collections. Collections are 4 books, and they can either be by genre, century, or country. Genre collections are worth 3 times 3 at the end of the game. Country and century are worth times 2. Since genre is worth more, let's start there. Here's a genre collection that I put together. All of these books are Christian books, so that's the genre. But you can see that they're from different centuries and they're from different countries. They have different colors. So this is a Spanish book and this is a German book. So you can see that the only thing uniting them is the genre. Here's a century collection. So all of these books are from the 19th century. It doesn't matter that they're from different countries or what their genres are. They're all from the same time period. And here's a collection of books from the same country, and the same country is Italy. They're all green, they're Italy, and they're also from different time periods, so that doesn't matter. So again, you can have genre, country, or century. You need 4 books for every collection, and genre's worth the most, times 3, country and century worth times 2. That's how you're gonna win. All right, so what happens if you pull a chance card? Chance happens when you have a history card that says chance at the bottom. So here it says, Albert Durer's woodcuts exemplify the beauty and skill demonstrated in the early book arts. Chance. So what you do is you go to the chance pile and you just pull a card. It can be from anywhere in the deck. So here I pulled a chance card that says dealer. I would read this to everyone who's playing the game. Dealer, decide if you want to buy any of the books on the market for a 1 credit discount. That sounds great. So I can pick any books from the century I'm in or any previous centuries for 1 credit discount. All right, so what happens if you have a chance card that doesn't seem to apply to the game at hand? For example, you could get a card called Book Collector, okay? And the card says, the country to your left gives you one of their completed collections. So that sounds awesome, right? But what if the country to your left doesn't have any completed collections? At that point, you can just go by house rules. Sometimes people like to pull a different chance card, or sometimes you just say, whoop, doesn't apply, and you don't do anything. Either way, the key thing is that you don't get to buy any books this round. You got a chance card, you didn't get any credits, you can't go to the book market. I'm sorry. So then you just move on to the next country that has a turn, and we'll see if they get credits or if they pull a chance card too. So when you're playing this game, each person is going to take a turn for a round. So the 15th century, they'll turn over a card in Germany, they'll figure out what credits and decide whether or not they're going to buy books or not. Then Italy will take a turn in the 15th century, so will Spain, France, and England. And then they'll go around again. So everyone takes 2 turns in each century. So you go once through the 15th century, and then you go twice through the 15th century. Once you've gone around twice, you've concluded that century. And so you're going to be moving on to the 16th century. But before you can do that, you always lose a book due to time. So whatever is left in the 15th century book market, you're going to take 1 book off the top, and that's going to be discarded permanently. So let's see what book we lost. Oh, the Summa of Logic. We lost that due to time, so that's permanently out of the game, and you can just put it aside. So then you would move into the 16th century. Everyone would have 2 times to try at the 16th century book market. And remember that you can also buy from any remaining books on the 15th century. When you're done with the 2 rounds in the 16th century, you would take a book off the top from the 16th and 1 from the 15th if there's any remaining. Okay? So you're going to lose these 2 books due to time. So you can see as you move through the centuries, you're going to wind up losing quite a lot of books as you move through. But each round gets 2 tries at the book market. These are the cards that I have at the end of the game. So now it's the time to add up how many points I have to see if I've won. Right now you can see I have 2 collections and then a few miscellaneous cards. This first collection is based on genre, so I get to multiply that times 3. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 times 2 is 24. And then, times 3, because it's genre, 36. So this collection is worth 36. This collection is an Italian collection, so it's country, so I only multiplied times 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2 is 12, so I have 36 plus 12. So that's 48. So now I have 48 based on my collections. And then books that are not part of a collection get face value. So I have 4 and 5, so 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. So my score at the end of the game is 53. If I'd had any leftover credits, which I hadn't used, so let's say I had 2, they would be the same as a book that's not in a collection. I would just say 2. Okay, so you wouldn't multiply this by anything. It's not in a collection, it's not a book, so therefore you just count face value. But here, I didn't have any more credits. I had 2 collections, 2 spare books, so that's all I'm counting. That's how I know what my score is. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My name is Amy Hildreth Chin. My email is just amy-chin@uiowa.edu. Send me an email and I'll reply. Thanks for playing Codex Conquest.